So Taylor Swift released a new album last week, and my gym playlist has been feeling kinda dry, so I said, why not give it a try? I'm definitely not a Swiftie, but shoot, Love Story's a banger. I also don't really like Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, I don't hate him, but like, we're not like cool, like it's like, we're not like tight like that, you know, like we're not boys. So I gave it a shot, but once I played it, I was almost instantly shocked.
What is this, bro?
Not because it was so good. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was just so different. This is Taylor Swift I'm listening to, right? Where are the fiddles? Where's the guitar? Where's that random dude that always harmonizes with her in the background? So I did some digging, and it turns out Taylor Swift hasn't released country music in like 12 years. But that's not the point, because I obviously knew about the pop songs she's released and that really controversial album from a few years ago. But it's just genuinely fascinating to me how she could change her sound so much and all her fans still eat up everything she makes. Think of it this way. If Billy Joel came out with a gospel opera album, who the fuck's gonna listen to that? Actually, I probably would. That sounds really funny. Bad example, but my point is, Taylor Swift has reached a point in her career where, how do I put this delicately? She could release an album where all the backtracks are samples of her queefing, and it would probably unironically go platinum. So I want to see what all the fuss is about. Objectives for today's video: listen to every Taylor Swift album, effectively rank, review, and synopsize every album. And hopefully by the end of the video, I will find out what it is about Taylor Swift that just makes every girl in the world go ballistic. Taylor Allison Swift. Sex, female. Gender, female. Age, 32. Height, 5'11". Holy shit. All this time I thought the guys she dated were short. I guess she's just tall. Taylor Swift has 10 official studio albums. The self-titled Taylor Swift, Fearless, Speak Now, Red, 1989, Reputation, Lover, Folklore, Evermore, and Midnights. I should also mention that I am going to be listening to all the deluxe editions of the albums that have them, as well as the 3 AM edition for Midnights, and the Taylor's version for Red and Fearless. In case that was gibberish for any of you, like it was for me earlier today, deluxe editions are pretty self-explanatory. The album Midnights came out October 21st, 2022 at midnight. And at 3 AM, she released an extended edition with 7 more songs. And Taylor's version albums were released for Red and Fearless because, basically, long story short, when Taylor left her old record label in, I think, 2018, she no longer had access to the revenue generated by her albums she made with those record labels. And like anyone else in that type of situation, she tried to buy them back, but Scooter Bum sold them to someone else for a fucking bag. So she said, fuck it, I'll just re-record and re-release the albums, which is just alpha as fuck. There are differences in the track lists, but the Taylor's versions only add things to the original albums, so I figured I may as well just listen to those instead. I kind of see them as just deluxe editions that are bigger and better, I guess. I don't know. Like, Red Taylor's version has a 10-minute version of All Too Well, which is just, how can you stretch that song out for 10 minutes? But I guess we'll find out. These renditions of her 10 studio albums equate to 197 songs and 770 minutes, or 12 hours and 50 minutes. God damn, this is gonna be a long process. What am I doing? You guys better like this video, dude. Alright, I'm serious. And subscribe if you're new. Anyways, with all that out of the way, let's get listening, losers. What's up, losers? So yesterday when I was at the gym, I managed to crank out all of Taylor Swift's first album. I don't want to say that it was ass, but it was incredibly boring. Here are my top 5 songs. I'm probably never gonna listen to any of these again. At first I was gonna rank every single song for every single album, and I did that for the first like 3. By the time I got to Red, there's 30 songs. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Honestly, all the songs sounded the same, but I'll give my flowers where they're due. Assuming Taylor Swift did write all of these songs, it's pretty impressive. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the worst out of all of her albums, which is a good thing, you know, only going up. But yeah, not much else to say on that. It's really just like a cute album. I finished Fearless. I think in general it was a lot better than her first album, and I'm really impressed by her ability to mesh country music with pop music to get what I feel like is the quintessential Taylor Swift sound. I wouldn't go as far as to say that this is a sick album, but it's chill. Like, if this album pulled up to the house with the ratio, I'd probably let it slide. This album kind of feels like a teenager's diary in a way. Fuck, that sounds really weird. Let me reiterate. Like, the way Taylor talks about love or guys in this album. It's very romanticized, like, you know, like when you're a kid, but it's done in a way that instead of feeling like cheesy romanticized, it's kind of relatable because it just reminds you of being young. Not that I'm old, but you get what I'm saying. And I'll be honest, seeing the effort that she went through to get versions of these albums to own, like re-recording every single song from the ground up, is a lot of fucking work. But it makes sense to me. This is clearly a representation of a certain time in her life, and she wants to own a copy of it. Not a copy, she wants to own it. And that's part of what makes it so cool to look back on. If there's one thing that I could tell about Taylor thus far, it's that she cares a lot about her craft. Another thing I noticed is how much better of a vocalist she's become. You know, because I listened to the Taylor's version of Fearless, so I basically went from hearing a 16, 17-year-old Taylor singing to a 31-year-old Taylor singing. And it's night and day.
Oh, also, Forever and Always is one of, like, the best songs ever created, I'm not gonna lie. I was listening to that song on the treadmill and, like, god damn, just slaps.
Good morning. So I finished Speak Now. It's an okay album, but a lot of it feels a bit repetitive. Not nearly as much as her first album, but also not as diverse as Fearless and some of the other albums we'll get into later. Lyrically, I think this album is fantastic. It gets a little more personal than Fearless does, which I'm a fan of, but overall, I just think that there's less slappers. To me, this kind of feels like a stuffer album. Like, it's good, but in the long run, it just kind of beefs up her song repertoire. I mean, there is a reason that she skipped over it when doing her Taylor's versions, right? I just think that overall, a lot of the songs have super hectic arrangements with like loud guitars and drums, and it overshadows some of the emotional content. There are a few exceptions though. But I'm hyped. Alright guys, I'm fucking hyped because you know what album comes next, alright? It's Red, okay? You know what that means. Fuck Jake Gyllenhaal, let's go! Goddamn. Red, Taylor's version. Fucking slaps, dude. Oh my goodness. I'll spoil the rest of the video for you guys. Red, Taylor's version is my favorite Taylor Swift album, like by far. No misses, all bangers. It fucking slaps. It's just the pinnacle of everything good about Taylor Swift's music. Everything that she's best at and is known best for is encapsulated in this album. And there's 30 songs. Yet somehow I didn't get bored once. How do you do that, man? That doesn't make any sense to me. I think this album evokes much... I just say evokes? What the fuck? Who the fuck am I? I think this album displays? I'm just gonna say evokes. I'm sorry if I sound pretentious. I think this album evokes much more specific emotions than the others do. And that's kind of what makes it more engaging than the others in my opinion. In this one, Taylor's writing is so, I guess, specific or particular that when you listen to the details in those songs and think about how specific those beats are, it just makes it that much more relatable. I don't think that made any sense, but I'm gonna stick with it. The cover art is a perfect representation of the vibe of this album. It's just like a perfect fall album, you know? Some of the songs I was listening to while walking to the gym, seeing the leaves change color, it's perfect. I definitely think that the setting of where you're listening to an album affects your experience with it. We'll get into more of that later, I guess. Oh yeah, and the All Too Well 10-minute version actually works. And not only does it work, but it's fucking good. The differences in the arrangements between the 10-minute version and the regular version of All Too Well go a long way. Right when you press play, it feels like you're engulfed into more of a story instead of just a song that you'd hear on the radio. Somehow, you're completely engaged for the entire time. And it's 10 minutes. Alright, I'm about to watch the All Too Well short film, 15 minutes long, directed by Taylor Swift. Should be cool. It has 78 million views, which is kind of crazy. But I mean, this song was like a huge deal when it came out, right? So I actually feel like I might have seen it when it came out just because my friends were talking about it. Not sure, but we're just gonna watch it now anyways. Pretty good. I feel like it's kind of funny how the thing ends with like the credits her and him and then her later on. It's like her, but when she's older, you know? Her at the end. Her when she's not her, she's actually Taylor Swift. And him, definitely not Jake Gyllenhaal. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, the acting was really good in that one scene. That was really cool. The overall vibe of it matches the song perfectly. I do kind of wish, like, during the breakup scene that it wasn't muted with the song playing. Like, I want to hear what they're saying. Super good. Super good. Very impressive. Guys, I know it's late. Well, you guys don't know it's late, but I know it's late. But I might have to make a move. Red Taylor's version vinyl for $40. That's a lot of Hot Pockets, I know. But hear me out. I've been wanting to get back into collecting vinyl recently. I did it a lot when I was like a freshman in high school. I do have a record player, so I'm not one of those phonies. I honestly don't hear much of a difference in the sound quality, but that's besides the point, okay? Target has an exclusive one. And the fucking vinyls are red, dude. The vinyls are red. The album is called Red, and the vinyls are red. Genius. Like, it's $10 more. $50. I mean, technically it's 4 vinyl discs, $12.50 a disc. That's not bad at all. But 50 Hot Pockets is 50 Hot Pockets. Do I do it? 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 Do I did it. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Did you really think that my frugal ass would spend $50 on a vinyl? I probably would have. But you know what? I found these in my wallet. So that shit was like 30 bucks. That's a deal. I could talk about this album all day. Red, Everything Has Changed. 22, I Almost Do. State of Grace. There's so many bangers. But we have 6 more albums to go through, so I'm gonna have to stop myself here. Just finished 1989. It's interesting because this is like her first completely pop album. I feel like Red had a lot of pop-ish songs, but this is like her first start to finish only pop. And I feel like pop gets a bad rep just because they are all songs that are just kind of made for the radio. But I don't care. I liked it. Some of the songs were bangers, some of them were not as good, but I think I could see the appeal to each of them. Somehow they all sound different, but the same. This is one of those albums where you ask someone what their favorite song on it is, and they could say any of the songs, and you'd be like, I kind of get that. So if we're talking pure quality of music, it's actually a really good album. I just have one issue. Whoever told Taylor Swift that releasing Shake It Off was a good idea, I hope that both sides of your pillow are warm. I hope you kick off your blanket in the middle of the night so you have to wake up in the middle of the night and put it back over your body. And if you're in a relationship, I hope that your partner does that so you have to wake up and pull it back over both of you. Composition wise, it's not terrible. Like, I get why it got popular, but I fucking hate that song. Especially that fucking bridge. Like, are you kidding me? My ex, like, no, shut up. No, it's okay though. They can't all be bangers, you know? So just got back from the gym. I'm eating lunch right now and I killed 2 albums, guys. Reputation and Lover. Reputation's interesting because I obviously had heard of it before. Honestly, kind of underwhelming. The album itself feels kind of messy. There's some points where it really does feel like she's a different Taylor, and then some points where it feels like she's the same Taylor just talking about like darker topics, and then there's some songs where she literally just feels like the same Taylor. None of the songs were inherently bad, but I don't see myself ever listening to any of these again. And yeah, it was kind of underwhelming because I was expecting the entire album to feel, I guess, kind of grungy. It was just funny how she put that whole bit in Look What You Made Me Do, where she's like, oh, the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. Why?
Because she's dead.
But by the last song on the album, I'm pretty sure it was called like New Year's something. That song could have been slapped onto any of her albums. So I know a lot of people refer to these style changes as eras or eras if you're weird, but I feel like that's kind of cringe. An era is defined as a long and distinct period of time. And I don't know, personally, I just feel like Taylor releasing one album where she's kind of emo for like half of it isn't an era. It's just like a short phase. But I mean, if you like saying era, that's cool. Taylor has pretty much embraced it, so maybe I'm the one that's cringe, but I'm just gonna stick to saying phase. This phase of Taylor's career is kind of interesting to see, because I don't know what was going on in 2017 that led her to want to become edgier. My best guess is that she might have received some backlash for becoming too mainstream, or maybe writing songs for little girls, which I don't think is true, but who knows. Maybe I have the music taste of a little girl. But yeah, this album does kind of feel like it's not her saying I can be edgy, it's I can be edgy too. Like she's trying to prove it to people. It wasn't a bad album, it was just kind of meh, you know? To be honest, did not like Lover as much either, but there were some bangers. I'll put that on the screen too. It's kind of funny to me that these albums were released back to back, because they're just like opposites, even down to the cover arts. But this kind of feels like it's her embracing her style. You know, after going through her whole Reputation phase, she's just kind of like, you know what? I'm cool with making music that little girls like. And she can make whatever edgy songs she wants. But let's be real, at the end of the day, we all know that this is the type of music that she likes making best and that she's best at. The thing about Taylor Swift that I've noticed so far is that she does a really good job at keeping her engagement with her fans, because it feels very intimate. All her songs feel like she's speaking from the heart, and there's like, you're seeing inside of her in a sense, you know what I mean? Lover kind of loses that for me. There's a lot going on, and it feels like bigger songs, bigger events in the songs. And you know, like, even how like on the end of 1989, the deluxe edition, she's like literally talking to the listener and sort of breaking down her songwriting process, and it just feels super intimate, you know, like you're friends with Taylor in a sense. Lover really feels like she's all the way over there and you're watching like a show going on. Dare I say she's gone a bit Hollywood on us, but it's all good because Folklore and Evermore are the opposite. Super simple arrangements, and it really does kind of just feel like she's talking to you, telling you a story, or you know, it feels like you're in a room with her. I'll be honest, I have no idea what the fuck folk music is. Like, I tried to look it up, but I could only find 2 identifiers. The first being it's a song with unknown authorship, and I'm pretty sure that Taylor Swift wrote these songs. And the second is that it's passed down from generation to generation, and I'm pretty sure that these came out 2 years ago. So what classifies these 2 albums as folk music? Is it the occasional use of a harmonica? I will say that of all the albums, these are like basically only stories being told. So I guess that aspect of folk music is like she's telling you a story. And it's really cool to listen to, but I wasn't like blown away by any of them. It could be because I was listening to them at the gym, and every song was like a super mellow ballad. Not the best workout soundtrack. Of the two, I think I liked Evermore just a bit more because while they sound super similar, I think Evermore has a more hopeful and optimistic feel to it. And the difference between the covers kind of shows it. Also, releasing 2 albums in 1 year is kind of crazy, especially considering they were only like 6 months apart. I guess she had a productive lockdown. And yeah, they were cool, but I just wouldn't say there were any standout bangers. Oh my god, I've been holding this mic like this the entire time. Oh, my bicep has never been so sore in my life. I'm gonna try switching hands. Ladies and gentlemen, we have finally arrived to the final album. Now, after listening to all the previous albums while walking to class or working out, I decided that for this one, I would just buckle down and do nothing else but listen to it front to back. But it got kind of boring. The songs are cool. I actually really liked some of them, but I think it embraces that sort of euphoric pop sound, and it just kind of feels like H&M music. I'm sorry. Like, I can imagine myself walking to H&M and hearing every single one of these songs. But I mean, that doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? Taylor came out and said that Midnights is a culmination of songs that she's written throughout the course of her career, all at midnight, which is a super cool concept, and it does kind of show. Like, she may as well have stuck vigilante shit on Reputation, Taylor's version. I feel like this is one of those albums that would slap listening to it at midnight, but I listened to it at 3 in the afternoon, so it was just okay. Taylor is obviously a super talented singer, but that could only go so far. So how is it that she's become such an icon over the past 16 years of her career? After listening to all 10 of her albums, I can sort of narrow it down to one thing that sort of sprouts into like more things, and that's her relationship with her music and her fans. Taylor Swift has a tradition of starting off all her concerts by introducing herself.
I'm Taylor. I'm Taylor. Good evening, New York. I'm Taylor.
Which on the surface is cute, because it's like, obviously everyone there knows who she is. But I think it also says a lot about the relationship that she tries to maintain with her fans. See, no matter how famous Taylor Swift has gotten over the years, and how many eras she's been through, she's always been the same Taylor at her core. Look at her Midnights rollout, for example.
I have to show you something, what I do.
All right, I've been wanting to show you this. 4 different covers for the Midnights album. Put all the back covers together. She's a clock. It's a clock. It's a clock. It makes a clock. It can help you tell time.
It's a clock. Makes a time clock. You look at it, can tell you time. She's not faking plastic surgery or going on missionary tours testifying the word of the Lord. She's just posting TikToks about it. Anyone can do that. And that's not to bash The Weeknd or Kanye. Obviously, I think that they're fantastic artists in their respective rights. But Taylor's appeal comes from her humbleness and her relatability. Her albums aren't supposed to be masterpieces, and there's no prestige to any of them. They're just representations of who she was at different points in her life. And that's what makes them super relatable. She's just a regular girl, or woman. The only difference is, instead of a therapist listening to her talk about her feelings, it's her millions of fans. Obviously, you could expand on that a little more, looking at the amount of drama that she's found herself in throughout her career, whether it be relationships, record labels, or drunk dudes praising Beyonce. But I feel like all of that has just kind of helped this aspect of it. Whether she creates the drama or the drama comes to her, it all just ends up being more material for people to be invested in, therefore making more people invested in Taylor as an artist. She never said that All Too Well was about Jake Gyllenhaal, but you compare the timelines of their relationship and the release of Red in 2012, and the fact that Dylan O'Brien has super similar facial hair and clothing in the short film. Fuck. I think I'm a Swiftie, guys. I'm not preaching that she's a good person. Obviously, I've never met her, so I can't say anything about that. But the situations that she's found herself in throughout her career have obviously shaped her, and her music provides everyone in the world with a peek inside her growth as a person. And when you look at it like that, how can you not see how she's so successful? Going back to Midnights, the album has already broken so many records, and like, it's alright, but is it all 10 of the Hot 100 good? Is it most streams in a day in Spotify history good? Well, clearly it is. But my theory is, over the years, Swifties across the globe have developed certain expectations for Taylor Swift's music, and the release of Red, Taylor's version last year, probably only reassured those expectations. And what exactly are those expectations? That with every Taylor Swift album, we are gonna get some fucking tea. So when you do the rollout on TikTok, which is obviously the most popular social media platform right now, and you're coming off of arguably your best record yet, more people than ever are gonna be hyped for what you put out next. The buzz around All Too Well was insane last year, dude. Like, everyone knew about it. And all I'm saying is that Ariana Grande literally released a song called Pete Davidson. and no one talks about that. And Beyonce released an album where she opened up about Jay-Z having an affair, and that was big, but low-key, I feel like All Too Well was bigger. Although that's probably because she left it like just the right amount of ambiguous so that everyone agreed that it was about Jake Gyllenhaal, but she never specifically said anything. And their desires to talk about it with other people just create more buzz around the album. If Taylor did that as a marketing ploy, it's actually genius. But I don't think she did. Well, maybe it was like killing two birds with one stone. Re-record an album so she can own the rights to it. Revisit that period of her life, looking at it through a new lens. Recycle the drama surrounding those songs to market it. I guess that's 3. 4 could be testing out her directing chops, I guess. See, I started listening to Taylor Swift last week, man, and going down that rabbit hole has brought me here. I just spent the last 30 minutes writing about one of her songs, and the worst part is, I want to talk about it more. Fuck, man, I fell into the trap.
You idiot!
I wouldn't say that I'm a full-on Swiftie. I'm more of like a Swift, but I would consider this venture a success. I just think I need more time to re-listen to her music to really appreciate it. Not sure if I'm gonna do that, but I'll listen to my vinyl when I get it, and I made a playlist ranking my 15 favorite Taylor Swift songs, starting from 15 all the way down to 1. I'll link it in the description, I guess, if you want to see it, but I'll also just put it on the screen. And if you made it this far in the video, comment down below what your favorite Taylor Swift song is, or album, or both. And please like this video because it helps out a lot. Anyways, that's all I've got today. Hope you enjoyed. This was a pretty big project. I think definitely my biggest video yet. And I want to make more content like this moving forward. I had a lot of fun with this one. Subscribe if you're new. More content on the way. And I'll see you guys in the next one.